Welcome back to the New York State Curriculum and Instruction Computer Science and Digital Fluency Learning Standards page. You can bookmark this page as a way to get back to it after you're done with this course. You will find the link to the page in your Canvas course, and it is also listed right up here in the Omnibox at the top of this video page. So we're going to be diving into the cybersecurity concept area. So hopefully you've taken some other courses and you kind of have an idea as far as the navigation of this page. If you haven't watched that first video that talks about it in the Impacts of Computing course, or that video from the Impacts of Computing course is on your Canvas page as well, because we're going to be focusing right in on the cybersecurity one. So we're going to come down to the very first bullet that is highlighted in blue. So we know it's a link, and we're going to go out to the PDF so we can look at the cybersecurity standards. I'm going to scroll on the left-hand side here till I get to those cybersecurity standards, which actually starts on page 32. So if you want to follow along, you can grab your PDF and turn to page 32. We're only going to be looking at pages 32 through 34, which is where the cybersecurity standards live. This is not a large area, kind of like the networks and systems design wasn't a very large area of the standards, but these are incredibly important standards for us to be able to understand for ourselves and for our students, as these are the standards that help us protect ourselves every time we are using any kind of computing device. So we're going to start with risks, and there's really only one standard for this one. So you see it at the top here. Again, just in case you haven't taken any courses before, the first two letters and numbers that you see on the standards are your grade bands. You have K1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, and 9, 12. The second set of letters you see is the concept area. So in this case, it's cybersecurity. And then the final one is the numbers. So you'll see on this page you have 1 and 2. So standard 1, standard 2 for cybersecurity, 1 is for risks, and 2 is for safeguards. So for the first one, for risks, we're really trying to identify why we should keep our information private, who should have access, how can we protect it. So really, we just know that every time we use technology, we have to consider what we're giving away, what are the potential effects, both positive and negative, for giving that information away. As we move into safeguards, that's where we start to talk about things like our passwords and how to keep our accounts safe, knowing and understanding how different things work online as far as how it protects our information. So the first one here talks about our accounts, and then as we get up into the 9 through 12, we're really talking about the CIA triad. And if you're not familiar with that, check out the glossary that's on the NYSED page and look up that definition so that you understand what we're talking about here. But really, the CIA triad is thinking about how we keep ourselves safe, and it's kind of a global way to think about it. You'll notice as we get into the safeguards that we don't have a standard for the K1 band. So if you're a kindergarten or first grade teacher, you do not need to start thinking about or think about at all this standard for safeguards. But by second grade, we are going to start having those conversations. Here we're going to be thinking about who we would share an account with, who we'd share passwords with. So maybe it's a family member that shares a Netflix password versus a student who has a password for maybe their Roblox or Minecraft that they may not share that with their friends. And then as we get up into the upper grades, we're really thinking about the trade-offs that we are taking on every time we download an app or use something that collects any personally identifiable information. As we move into the next one for safeguards, this is really where we're talking about cryptographic methods. And what we mean by that is how you can code and decode different things. So in the computer world, a cryptographic method might be a way to protect our data or our passwords. But you can also use this as part of your history if you're studying like the Navajo code talkers or the code that the Nazis used during World War II. Or even if you're just doing something as simple as a breakout in your classroom where they have to decode different phrases and messages. So really a fun way to bring this in would be to do something like that, to be able to use breakouts as a way to talk about how we can protect data. Or you can go very advanced and think about this as far as how we can protect our passwords and how fast can computers figure out our passwords. And then finally, for the last one, we're moving into response. And here we're trying to think about what to do if something happens. So you click on a link you shouldn't have. Now what? It's explaining, or it's helping our students know when we need to contact an adult and think about what we're going to do if something happens. In here, we also have to think about our cyberbullying curriculum that we might use, and that will tie very nicely into the next concept area of digital literacy. But bullying is really part of cybersecurity as well. So it's definitely something that, as we're talking about the risks, we're talking about safeguarding, and definitely into our responses. How do we react to those bullies online? So definitely something we want to bring into our classroom, as cyberbullying is definitely a huge problem that we have, and we want to make sure that our students know how to protect themselves.